Well, coming up this Tuesday is the government shutdown. If they don't pay for that CR bill, which is only a 7-week extension. I'll explain that in just a minute, but I wanted to give you guys an update on where the battle is between Schumer and Trump.
Directing federal layoffs of federal workers this time around.
Well, this is all caused by the Democrats. They asked us to do something that's totally unreasonable. They never change. They want to give money away to illegally, people that entered our country illegally. They want to give them massive federal money. And we don't want to do that because it means everyone's going to just keep pouring back. Right now, we have absolutely perfect borders like you haven't seen in many years, even better than I had great borders during my 4 years, but these borders are stone cold closed. You can only come into our country legally now.
Welcome to Doug In Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. I bring you guys only the important news every day, the stuff that I think is the biggest mover and shaker that is both moving both sides, but also that has the biggest effect on all of America. So welcome. I love hearing from you guys in the chat. You guys know that I read them. I often respond, and I really love my audience. I like hearing from you. It really warms my heart. I think I have one of the nicest audience I've ever had in my life. We're not that super argumentative. Overall, everyone's pretty cool. Speaking of not very cool, here's Chuck Schumer on Twitter. He says, he's talking about this article that we're going to read together. He says, this is an attempt at intimidation. Donald Trump has been firing federal workers since day one, not to govern, but to scare. This is about a threat to fire federal workers. This is the backfire against Schumer for this government shutdown. Trump is going to be able to fire a ton of federal workers, which is his dream anyway. So either way, Trump's going to win this one, Chuck. Chucky, what's up, Chuck? Here's Politico. White House to agencies, prepare mass firing plans for a potential shutdown. This is Russell Vought, Office of Management and Budget Director, OMB. That's Office of Management and Budget. You're going to see a lot of that quoted here, but he's a good guy. The White House Budget Office is instructing federal agencies to prepare reduction in force plans for mass firings during a possible government shutdown, specifically targeting employees who work for programs that are not legally required to continue. In short, this is going to be another DOGE clearing of federal employees. Many of them Democrats, because so many government employees already lean left. We know that by who they are funding in which political party. There's more Democrats. And remember, DOGE had a hard time firing all these guys without courts refusing and all that. Well, now if the government shuts down, Trump can just go, well, guess what? We're reducing the workforce now. We're going to save a lot of money and y'all can go bye-bye. And Trump can just go, the Democrats shut the government down and now you guys all lost your job. So I'm for this. This looks really good for Trump. The Office of Management and Budget, that they're going to call it the OMB for the rest of the article, the Office of Management Budget, moved to permanently reduce the government workforce if there's a shutdown, outlined in a memo shared with Politico ahead of the release to agencies tonight, escalates the stakes of a potential shutdown next week. Remember, that's coming this Tuesday on the 30th. At the very end of the month is when the shutdown comes. They run out of money, and then all these federal workers, tens of thousands, are not funded. Now, essential workers, we'll talk about them, get to stay. The ones that affect you and me, if you're poor, if you're a senior, those are all going to get to keep their job. They're considered essential. In the memo, OMB told agencies to identify programs, projects, and activities that were direct discretionary funding that will lapse on October 1st, so that would be Wednesday, and no alternative funding source is available. For those areas, OMB directed agencies to begin drafting RIF plans that would go beyond standard furloughs, permanently eliminating jobs in programs not consistent with Trump's priorities in the event of a shutdown. So this is a further threat against Schumer. And now they've fired the warning shot saying, this is what's coming. we're going to stick all of these federal employees are going to get fired. Thank you, Schumer. And it'll be very difficult to hire them back. The move marks a significant break from how shutdowns have been handled in recent decades, when most furloughs were temporary and employees were brought back once Congress voted to reopen government and funding was restored. That's another thing that always happens with the CR. They always have to back pay the people that lost their jobs or weren't able to work during the shutdown. They always back pay them. Well, not if you get fired. You don't get the back pay. You just get cut off. I like the reduction of government. I think most people like the reduction of government. This time, OMB Director Russ Vought is using the threat of permanent job cuts as leverage. Ding, good strategy, upping the ante, and the standoff with Democrats in Congress over government spending. Quote, programs that did not benefit from an infusion of mandatory appropriations will bear the brunt of the shutdown, OMB wrote in the memo. In other words, Democrat agents are going to face the brunt. Agencies were told to submit their proposed RIF plans to OMD and to issue notices to employees, even if they would otherwise be accepted or furloughed during the lapse in funding. Programs that will continue regardless of shutdown include Social Security. So remember, Chuck Schumer is going to try and scare all of you and say Trump's going to try and get to remove your Social Security. Not true. They get to stay. Medicare. Remember that. And remember my buddies over at Chapter. You got to call that number. Medicare get to stay. Veterans benefits get to stay. To my veterans out there, thank you for your service. Military operations. All military operations are go. Law enforcement. All of the ICE agents, FBI. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, that's ICE, I-C-E, Customs and Border Protection, and Air Traffic Control, so the planes get to stay in the air. According to an OMB official, granted anonymity to share information that is not yet public, so we're giving you guys the scoop. The guidance comes as Republicans and Democrats on Capitol Hill are locked in an impasse over funding, with just days before the fiscal year ends September 30th. The House passed a stopgap spending measure to float federal operations through November 21st, but Democrats in the Senate have refused to advance it, demanding that the Republicans come to this table to renegotiate or negotiate a bipartisan package that could include an extension of expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies, et cetera. So to me, this whole thing is terrible anyways, because the continued resolution only buys us 7 more weeks out to November, I think, or somewhere out there. And then all this starts over again, a threat of a shutdown. The memo appears to vindicate warnings issued by Democrats, most prominently Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer during the last shutdown standoff in March. Schumer, at the time, moved to allow a GOP-written spending bill to pass, arguing that a shutdown would be a gift, allowing Trump and his deputies, quote, to destroy vital government services at significantly faster rate than they can right now. That was at the last time the big, beautiful bill went through. Chuck Schumer said, we're not going to give this win to the Republicans by having them shut the government down because they're going to fire all these federal employees. So Trump and Russ Vought just brought up this threat again. Hey, Chuck, we're going to fire all the federal employees. You're going to give us that gift. So Trump's really got Chuck Schumer. This one completely backfired in his face.
Well, the Democrats are demanding free health care for illegal aliens. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries have been clear. They will not fund law enforcement. They will not fund the military. They will not fund public safety. They will not fund the operations of the federal government that your tax dollars pay for unless they get free health care for illegal aliens. That is the biggest losing message and the biggest losing argument in American history. We will see if there's enough Democrat senators who are dumb enough to follow Chuck Schumer off the edge of that cliff.
All right, Stephen, thanks for joining.
Now, on the two different sides, this is the Chuck Schumer side. I mean, John Thune versus Schumer. So this is the 7-week bill, right? This is according to John Thune. The Republicans' clean CR. It has bipartisan support. It's only a 7-week clean extension. It allows time for bipartisan appropriations process, which is to bring both sides to bring their pork in. And that's it. That's why it's called a clean CR. It's clean. It's not loaded up with pork. Now we're going to go over here to the Democrat side. This is what the Democrats want to add. Democrat, filthy, ceremonially unclean, filthy Democrat CR. It adds $1 trillion in demands to keep government open for 4 weeks. It repeals $50 billion investment in the rural healthcare program that helps those rural hospitals. It puts non-citizens back on taxpayer-funded health programs. It allows able-bodied, non-working adults on taxpayer-funded health programs. So this is the same kind of stuff that Democrats are going for. They're still scaremongering, not being honest about what the cuts are actually about. But wait, I have better news. Here's another place where Democrats are going to lose their jobs.
Stands for.
Joyce, if it is such a dire moment, what is your advice, your message right now to those people inside the Justice Department, inside these U.S. attorney offices, the rank and file prosecutors that are doing the work to bring cases like this one? What do you say to them?
Boring. Okay. She's trying to gear up a threat, going, what do you say to these FBI agents as they watch James Comey get indicted? So as James Comey, the indictment is bubbling up to the public and moving forward, and it's not official yet, but it's going to happen. Okay. So now MSNBC is trying to provide them a warning. What's your message to those FBI people? What are they supposed to do? They're going to ask them to quit their jobs. It'll only be the Democrat FBI members that'll quit. So, of course, we want them to resign. Another backfire watch.
So the mission inside of U.S. attorneys' offices across the country is to keep their communities safe. And in difficult times like this, the traditional advice to federal prosecutors is to keep their heads down, do the important cases in front of them. Because the cases that we're talking about, Anna, that's maybe 1% of what's going on in the Justice Department. But every day there's violent crime, there's drug crime, there's civil rights violations and white-collar crime.
And even Democrat FBI agents do those jobs, and we appreciate that. But now they're going to be called to abandon them. Abandon doing the kinds of things that keep all people safe to make a political statement about James Comey being indicted.
The prosecutors and agents across the country are working on. The issue prosecutors are hardwired to understand, and I hope Americans will understand this too, is that when you become an assistant United States attorney or a political appointee in an office, you check your politics at the door. You walk in and you do your job looking at the facts and the law without fear or favor. And that's what I believe Andrews and my former colleagues across the country are trying their hardest to do right now.
Well, if Comey did that, if he checked his politics at the door, he wouldn't be indicted. He wouldn't be in trouble.
There may be a moment for difficult choices coming for many prosecutors. And I hope that when those moments come, that the American public will stand up and support these people. I think if there is a move to indict Jim Comey, we will likely see resignations out of Alexandria and Richmond.
Yes. Victory. If Comey's indicted, resignations from the State Department. Guys, the universe is healing. This is another huge win. Huge backfire. This is what we want anyways. Look at this grim Democrat here, this guy.
We may see other forms of protest by career prosecutors. It's a unique moment, and I think that these people will rise to it.
Joyce Vance, Andrew Weissman, guys, thank you so much.
It's Andrew Weissman. Good. Don't let the door hit ya where the Lord made your butt. Yeah. On the way out, bye-bye. Quit, resign. That saves us a ton of money. That's what Doge wanted to do anyways. This is another huge win. Here's another meme. This is, he says, resignations are good. Excellent, in fact. He says, I'll allow it. The good news is Trump is winning on both the shutdown and his indictment of Comey, and they're all going to, anytime a Democrat is losing jobs or resigning voluntarily, they're cleaning the corruption and the politicization of these departments of justice, of the IRS, of the Office of Budget Management. It is saving us money. Anytime a federal worker is, Trump says is fired, who's non-essential, saving us money.
But the Democrats want to give it all away. They want to open up the borders. Take a look at that. Big thing. They want to open borders again after what we're going through now, getting rid of prisoners, getting rid of all of these people dropped out from mental institutions, drug dealers, drug addicts, everything. They're putting everybody into our country. It's all ended now. But this is what Schumer wants. This is what the Democrats want. They want.
This is what I voted for. How about you? I'm Doug in Exile. Subscribe and join us.